Good morning, everyone. Welcome to BW Radio, the number one Syracuse Sports Radio right here on YouTube. Today's episode of BW Radio is brought to you guys by our friends at Itasha Coffee Company. Check out ItashaCoffee.com today. Find out how you guys can get the newest flavors. Use code the BW Radio Network at checkout for 5% off your order today. That's 5% off your order today using the code the BW Radio Network at checkout. All right. Good morning, everybody. Why isn't my mouth moving? Of course. Why the heck isn't my mouth moving? There we go. Gotta love fixing the technical issues on air, am I right? Alright, what's happening, everyone? How's it going? Welcome to BW Radio, the number one Syracuse Sports Radio right here on YouTube. Sorry to be back with you folks once again. I'm your host, Brandon Nutting. We have so much to talk about in the world of sports today. Definitely a lot to talk about. We took a week off. Happy to be back with you folks once again. So much to talk about, so little time to do it. I do know this, though, that we are in for a very fun ride today because we have a lot of stuff that we have to go off on, including Laker fans, especially after what happened last night with OKC. So we'll be talking about them a little bit. Not only that, but we got to talk about the collapse of Boston sports over the past week and weekend. And boy, oh boy, do we have a lot to talk about there. It's gonna be fun when we get to talk about that. Not only that, but we also have the NHL Draft Lottery that took place last night. We'll talk about that as well. Talk about the winners and losers there. All that fun stuff. But good morning, everyone. What's happening? Happy to be behind this microphone with you once again. Happy to be doing this show with you folks once again. I know that we took the week off. And for that, I apologize because I know a lot of people wanted us to go live over the past week. Especially with what was happening in the world of sports when it came to playoff season and all this other fun stuff. Sorry to say that we were dealing with a lot of different things, so we weren't able to be live most of the time, but we are live today and just so much stuff as we get ready and we get set here to talk about sports. Let's see, we do have NBA playoffs, we have NHL, we got MLB, we got NFL news to talk about. So much fun stuff. So much. So I guess we should start talking sports, and of course we should start with last night's action in the NBA. I know that usually we start with Syracuse news, but not really much there. So let's talk about the NBA playoffs and how things are heating up, especially after what took place last night. The Oklahoma City Thunder took down the Los Angeles Lakers in a 108-90 victory. The Thunder take a 1-0 series lead over the Lakers, powered by Chet Hologram's 24 points, 12 rebounds, and 3 blocks. They currently are up 1-0 in the Western Conference semifinals, as Lakers fans saw an early exit of one of their top players, including by the name of Vanderbilt. He ended up leaving the game early due to a hand injury, which must not have been good based on the replays that we saw, especially of OKC reacting to that. And already, I gotta ask the question because apparently I'm not as into it, I guess, as other people are, and I kind of need some answers here. Why is it that people think that betting money on the Lakers is the heavy favorite was the smart play here? Because I read that and I almost lost it. Like what in everyone's minds made them think, oh, the Lakers going up against the Oklahoma City Thunder was the smart move here? I mean, no offense, but even I picked OKC in this series. And I've even said that I think that it's okay. I think it's going to be OKC in 4. That's what I think. But I need to know why everyone thought that Los Angeles was going to be the heavy favorite to win the series. When, no offense, the Thunder are much younger, they're much faster, they're much stronger. I I I don't understand the reasoning behind picking Los Angeles just because they have LeBron James and Austin Reeves. Which, by the way, Reeves, he had a terrible night. He struggled. He went 3 of 16 shooting last night. It was so bad. It was so bad. Reeves couldn't hit a fucking shot to save his life last night. And yes, we are reading the headlines that the game last night between the Lakers and the Thunder was the most imperfect game and was the most sloppiest game of basketball. But dude, I don't know what Lakers fans and sports fans in general were thinking here. Because again, we read the betting lines. We saw Lakers were heavy favorites, and OKC came out and they were like, "Yeah, no, fuck your heavy favorites. We're gonna come out. We're gonna play basketball." And they played basketball last night. They outplayed the Los Angeles Lakers. And I don't care what you tell me. You can sit there and say, "Oh yes, Los Angeles did this. Los Angeles does that." Well, yeah, good for them. Congratulations, Los Angeles. You've played well. But I've kind of had this feeling from the beginning that OKC was going to just run right through Los Angeles. It didn't matter who survived the last round. I honestly think that OKC was going to dominate this series, and I still think it's going to happen. I don't understand the reasoning behind people picking Los Angeles. Like I'm looking for a legit reason, and you can sit there and say, "Oh, it's because of Luka and LeBron and Reeves." I mean, the big three in Los Angeles. Well, Luka's hurt. LeBron's getting old. Reeves shot like shit last night. So I needed a legit reason other than, oh yeah, we have the big three. Even though LeBron put up 27 points, still couldn't get the job done. Still couldn't get the job done. To me, right, I think that OKC is just going to run right through this shit. And to me, it makes no sense. Also, good morning. Good morning to my Mad Lads chat. Good morning, Mavis. Good morning, everyone. But seriously, though, I need a legit reason to sit here and believe that anything can happen because I need to know what was going through people's minds last night when they said that Los Angeles was the favorite here. And I'm not looking at the next favorites here, but like, I mean, whoever said that OKC was not gonna win this series, and whoever said that OKC wasn't gonna do this and that, I'm sorry, but there's a perfect place for you, and it's called hell. OKC is gonna win this series. The Lakers are done. And yeah, I don't care how long this series goes. I'm still picking OKC to win the series. They're much faster. They're much younger. They're already NBA champions. They're trying to prove a point that they can go back to back. But yet, some reason people still put money on the Lakers, and it makes zero sense to me. Zero. Like I would love to hear the reasoning behind that. But of course, that's not the only NBA playoff action last night. The Pistons defeated the Cleveland Cavaliers 111 to 101 behind Cade Cunningham's 23 points, 7 assists to take a 1-0 series lead. The Pistons really came out firing against the Cavaliers. It really did not shock me that Cade Cunningham was one of the best players on the court last night for the Pistons. I think that's going to be a very interesting series there, considering that I think both of these teams had to go to Game 7 for their series. I know the Pistons had to against the Magic, and I think the Cavaliers had to against the Raptors. They had to go to Game 7 in the first round. I can tell you what, this NBA playoff, man, it's interesting. And we'll talk about Boston sports in a minute because honestly, we're gonna get to the chicanery and the mockery that is Boston sports. Don't worry, we'll talk about all that. Lost access to my Twitch account. Don't worry, we'll be live on Twitch later, with other stuff. But no, like I gotta say, last night I watched some very interesting basketball when it came to these two games. And I'm very curious to see what happens tonight because we got the Spurs and Timberwolves with Minnesota leading 1-0. And then we also have the Knicks and the 76ers with the Knicks pretty much rolling over the 76ers in the first game. I mean, we are in for a very interesting playoff ride here with the NBA and all that. But before we continue on with any sports stuff, I want to talk about this. But before we continue with anything, I do want to catch people back up because apparently people need some help here. I think that it's just funny how naive and how ridiculous some sports fans are. But I gotta call some people out here. Boston sports fans. Boston sports fans. The people that said this, that, and the other was gonna happen. I have a sound effect noise for you. Nope, wrong noise. Okay, yeah, we're off to a great start today. Where's the noise? Oh, here it is. Thank you, sound effects guy. If you want to hit that one more time for Boston sports fans so we can get the joke right this time, that'd be great. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. Oh, how the mighty have fucking fallen. First, Boston comes up short when it came to the NFL because they came up short against Seattle in the Super Bowl. Then the almighty Bruins fall to Buffalo in the NHL. And then what could quite possibly be the funniest shit on the planet. The 76ers eliminate the Boston Celtics. And I I don't even know how to start. I don't even know how to start with this. So to all the Boston fans that told me that the Celtics were the team and that the Celtics deserve to be in the NBA Finals. Were you thinking that the minute your team lost to a play-in team? Not only that, a play-in team that hasn't had success in a long while in the 76ers. And yes, I am going to laugh my ass off because I had to listen to Boston sports fans make fun of Miami Heat fans and make fun of all these other fans by saying, "Oh yes, we're gonna win the championship this year. It's our year." I mean, we got Jason Tatum back. We got Jaylen Brown. Yeah, how'd that work out for you? How did that work out for you? Oh, well, don't worry. The Bruins can get it done in hockey. Yeah. No. No. That didn't happen, did it? That did not happen, did it? Buffalo won that series 4-2, by the way. We'll be talking about NHL playoffs in a little bit. Don't you worry about that. But there's just something so satisfying about seeing a franchise that just gets so cocky and ahead of itself just fucking get destroyed. And I love it. Like for me, I love it. I mean, look, you can sit there and say that Boston had every right to be in the NBA Finals. You could sit there and say that, yes, it was a great Game 7, by the way. Although, towards the end, a little bit of ref ball kind of saved the Celtics, which pissed me off. I mean, no offense, 76ers were up big. And then all of a sudden, here comes the refs, trying to be like, oh, well, we can keep Boston in it. The 76ers had like a 20-point lead, and that somehow, in the span of what, I mean, because I was watching it, I was kind of listening to it. In the span of like 3 or 4 minutes, there was like every fucking foul you can call against Paul George. Every fucking call was going against the 76ers. It was ridiculous. Like I watched that whole, like I had to sit there and listen to that whole thing, and I was like, how is it that every single call was going against the 76ers? And then towards the end, it was like, okay, nothing to worry about now. But that's not the interesting thing here. The interesting thing is that there were a few teams that were up 3-1 in the series and collapsed. There were a bunch of teams that were up 3-1 in their series, and the collapse was just funny because I forgot which teams in particular. I know that it was the Magic and the Pistons. That was one. I know that it was the Celtics and the 76ers. I forgot the other one. But I was too busy laughing my fucking ass off when I read that the 76ers beat the goddamn Celtics. And yet it was the funniest shit to me. Like I never laughed so hard when I saw that because it was the greatest collapse of all time. And now we have a very much more interesting playoff series to watch because now we got the Knicks taking on the 76ers, and I feel like if the Knicks don't go to the NBA Finals this year, then it's going to be the greatest fucking like what if questions, and like what does the Knicks need to do, because now in my opinion they are the heavy favorite besides Detroit to make it to the NBA Finals. And honestly, I'd be very interested in seeing which one of these teams advances because realistically, who we see making it out of the conference semifinals, I have the Thunder rolling over the Lakers. I think that that's going to be just pure domination. I think that's going to be over there. Spurs and Timberwolves. I mean, based off what I've seen, Minnesota could potentially upset the Spurs. I think that would be a very much more interesting series to watch. And Thunder versus the Timberwolves, I think that that would be a very interesting series to watch there. But I definitely have Detroit and the Knicks making it to the next round. I think that that's going to be one to watch as well. Um, but I mean, either way that you watch it, I think that it's going to be a very interesting playoff series, especially with what's going on in the NBA. And we're getting close to the WNBA season starting, so the basketball never stops bouncing, as they say. Did they say that? Sound effects guy, am I right? I did not miss you. After the fight we pretty much had last week, I did not miss him. He's sitting over there with the shit-eating grin, too. Okay. So, we're going to take a commercial break. When we come back, we have NHL playoffs to talk about. And yes, we are going to talk NHL hockey. We're going to talk about everything that's going on with NHL hockey. And don't you worry, we have the latest there, including some playoffs to talk about, and including how one playoff team won the draft lottery last night. We'll talk about that in just a minute. Not only that, but folks, we have your Around the Diamond segment coming up. We'll talk about the Yankees and the Mets and the fun that's going on there. Plus, the WNBA season is officially returning this week. What to look forward to in the upcoming WNBA season, and of course, the latest headlines there. Not only that, some latest in the NFL, and so much more. So, stay with us live right here on BW Radio, the number one Syracuse Sports Radio, right here on YouTube.
Fanatics.com, the world's largest collection of officially licensed fan gear. From all the leagues, teams, and players you love, unique one-of-a-kind designs exclusively by Fanatics, and autographed collectibles from today's biggest stars shipped directly to your home. Join Fanatics Rewards for free to earn fan cash on every purchase. Shop now and for a limited time, get 20% off all orders. Fanatics.com, officially licensed everything.
Welcome back to BW Radio, the number one Syracuse Sports Radio right here on YouTube. Sorry to be back with you folks once again. This segment of BW Radio is brought to you guys by our friends at Fanatics.com, and of course the new Fanatics app downloaded today on your mobile devices through the App Store or Google Play. And folks, make sure you guys find out how you guys can start earning fan cash that you guys can use towards future purchases. Check it out at Fanatics.com or download the mobile app today on the App Store or Google Play. All right, we are back this morning after talking some NBA basketball. We now move over to the ice and, of course, in the Fanatics.com breakdown. And, boy, oh boy, does the Stanley Cup playoffs bring a lot of hype, especially with everything that was going on in the first round. And, of course, the one thing that we were alluding to from the first round of anything was pretty much the downfall of Boston sports because, like we said, Boston, of course, failed in their series against the Sabres. And already we are looking forward to a very interesting playoff series there between the Sabres and the Canadiens. Not only that, but of course, So many interesting headlines coming out of the NHL playoffs, including the Philadelphia Flyers advancing to the next round after getting rid of the Pittsburgh Penguins. And of course, the other night they blew a 2-goal lead and are down 2-0 in their series against the Hurricanes right now. But I gotta tell you what, I'm very interested in this headline, and I don't think anyone is giving this team enough credit here. Can we talk about Anaheim here for a minute? The Ducks? Because, dude, what the fuck are they doing that's different here? Like, the Ducks are like the underdogs here because they already eliminated the Oilers, which was the most shocking headline, I guess, out of the whole first round. Was not only that, but of course, like we said, the Pittsburgh Penguins getting eliminated there too. But what the hell is Anaheim doing on the ice that's different that I haven't been seeing in a while? Because the Ducks have been on a roll this whole playoff series. Like they have pretty much been like one of the hidden gems to come out of this. And I know that we could sit here and say, well, how come we're not talking about the Avalanche completely blowing out the Kings? And it's like, well, I mean, come on, it's the Avalanche versus the Kings. Let's be for real here. I mean, we kind of knew that it was going to be a sweep, and no shocker, as of right now, it's already a 2-0 series lead for them going up against the Wild. But the Ducks, man, where the hell did they come from? I didn't expect the Ducks to make it to the second round of the playoffs. Damn, what are they? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, the Ducks have been kind of like this hidden gem that have just been sneaking in here. And yes, even though Vegas currently has a 1-game lead over them, would you be shocked to see the Ducks advance here? Because for me, I think it'd be interesting to see what happens here when it comes to Anaheim. Because I think, like I said, there's always that one hidden gem in every playoffs. And, we could sit here and say that Anaheim is that hidden gem. But I mean, there's a lot of hidden gems here. But I think everyone is very interested in what's going to happen here with all these different playoff series, including tonight's matchup between the Sabres and the Canadians, because that's kind of like a huge rivalry here. But honestly, I mean, look, I think the Ducks are kind of like the Cinderella story here, where if they do advance and they take on the Avalanche, I think the Avalanche are going to roll right over them. But I think that we're watching very much more interesting hockey here, especially with what's going on in Anaheim, and of course what's going on throughout the entire NHL playoffs, because the NHL playoffs have just gotten more and more interesting the more that we keep looking at it and the more headlines that we're reading out of it, especially with shocking upsets and huge comebacks. It kind of begs the question: have the NHL playoff series been more interesting to watch than the NBA? And I'm not just asking that because I know that some people are Boston sports fans in here, and I know you guys are gonna sit there and be like, "Oh, we don't care because our teams are out and all this and that." And it's like, we're trying not to pick on Boston fans in particular, but like, I mean, looking at everything that has happened in both playoffs, right? Which one would you say is more interesting? Because for me, I think the whole NHL playoff has been a lot more interesting to watch and more like drawing my attention than the NBA has been doing. And for me at least, I think that realistically, I have the Avalanche, and I think the Ducks advance there, and then I have the Hurricanes pretty much dominating the Flyers. I think the Flyers have reached their peak in the playoffs, and I think it's over already. But it just keeps getting more and more interesting, and the more we keep watching and the more we keep seeing, it just keeps getting very more interesting and seeing where it's going here. Now, we need to talk about a playoff series that's happening tonight. As much as we want to talk about the Ducks and the Knights, we want to talk about this series, the Sabres and the Canadians. That game is happening tonight. That This is the first game, game one of this series, where the Sabres host the Canadians in the second round, as the youthful teams are eager to go on a long playoff run. And of course, I think that this is going to be one of the more interesting playoff games, to say the least. I think that both teams are going to come out here firing right off the start, especially if you're the Canadians and Buffalo. I think that there's a lot of hype around this series compared to the other ones. As much as I want to sit here and say, oh yes, there's hype around all the playoff series. I feel like for this one, when it comes to Buffalo and Montreal, I think that there's more hype around this matchup considering what we've seen out of them in the first round. And I think that there's more interest here because we saw a Canadians team pretty much had to go to game 7 in order to advance. We saw Buffalo dominating the Bruins. I'm very curious to see which way the puck leans here because you can go with Buffalo, who's been waiting for this playoff opportunity to do something. But at the same time, you also have a Canadians team that has just been on fire, especially with Suzuki out there. And I'm probably butchering his name. Um, but I mean, you can't sit there and tell me that matchup with him against Thompson. I mean, you can't tell me that that is not going to be one of the interesting stories here to watch. If you're going to sit there and tell me that any other series is more interesting to watch, I'm sorry. Like, as much as I want to say that the Ducks' little run here is interesting, and as much as I want to say that the Flyers, you know, is interesting to watch for me, I think that realistically, Sabres and Canadians is the one that's going to deliver. I mean, sound effects guy. Am I right on that? Am I right in the fact that the Sabres and the Canadians is the one to watch? Thank you. We need to get a different cheering noise. You ever think about that? Have you tried to find noises there, my friend? Or yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, but anyway, look. Getting back to it, right? I think that the NHL has been a lot more interesting considering the fact that more and more headlines keep coming out of it. Not only that, but the play has just been more interesting to watch. And, we could sit here and say that, the NBA has been something to watch too. But I think that the NHL has been coming out proving why it's one of the top leagues here, especially when it comes to playoff action, because it's just been a lot more interesting. And of course, we all want to see who's going to raise Lord Stanley here at the end. So we're going to keep an eye on all these matchups. But like we said, tonight in NHL action, we have the Sabres taking on the Canadians. That game is on 7 p.m. on TNT and True TV. Buffalo is the heavy favorite in that one. Other matchups taking place tonight. We have the Ducks taking on the Golden Knights. That game puck drops there at 9:30 p.m. on TNT and True TV. Vegas is favorited in that one. Sabres in 6 because I hate Montreal so much as a Bruins fan. Yeah, well, Bruins had an opportunity and they choked it. I'd be more mad with Buffalo, a team that hasn't made it to the playoffs in years, just rolling right over your team. I wouldn't be talking. How the 76ers doing? How's the 76ers doing? Anyway. Anyway, that's the Fanatics.com breakdown brought to you guys by our friends at Fanatics. Like we said, download the mobile app on the App Store or Google Play today and find out how you guys can start earning fan cash on all your purchases. But we do need to talk about one thing coming out of the NHL. How the hell is this draft lottery system supposed to help anyone here? So, for folks that didn't know, the Toronto Maple Leafs won the NHL Draft Lottery Tuesday night, earning a chance to select Penn State phenomenon Gavin McKenna. I'm probably butchering his name, who was expected to be the number one overall pick. You need some luck, and we got it tonight. New Maple Leafs general manager John Kayak says a day after he was introduced by the team Long road ahead, lots of work to do, but when you get the first overall pick, it's a it's pretty much a fantastic opportunity, he says here. The San Jose Sharks won the second lottery for the number 2 pick, beating the odds after having just a 5% chance to do so. Uh, so let me get this straight, and I know I'm gonna get my ass torn apart here, and I know that this is probably gonna be the downfall of me when it comes to Maple Leaf fans and everyone, so on and so forth. But weren't you guys in the playoffs? Or no, they weren't. They weren't even in the playoffs. That's how bad they were this year? Wait, are you serious? I'm not gonna lie, I haven't paid much attention to hockey this year. Usually the only time that we really pay attention is when it comes to um like when it comes to the playoff hockey, because that's when we love watching it the most. They finished as the 5th worst team in NHL. Ay ay ay. Anyway, that's sad, man. I mean, I'm sorry. That is just sad. Look, I've always said that the draft lottery system has been a broken system for so many years, right? Just so many years. I think realistically, if your team has the worst season, you deserve the number 1 pick. That's how it's always should be. It should go based on how bad your team was this year. If we were doing an actual system here, Vancouver would have the number 1 pick, Chicago would be number 2, Calgary would be number 3, the Rangers would be number 4, and Toronto Maple Leafs would be number 5. I think the whole draft lottery system is the dumbest system in terms of hockey and in terms of the NBA, period. I think that both systems need to drastically disappear. Like, first off, it doesn't help any of these teams. It doesn't. I mean, no offense. Just because they're going to select a guy out of Penn State doesn't mean that Toronto Maple Leaf fans are going to win the Stanley Cup next year. I mean, no offense. The Maple Leaf fans were acting like they just won the goddamn Stanley Cup. And I was watching the reactions of multiple podcasts last night because apparently Toronto Maple Leafs fans act like they just won the goddamn Stanley Cup because they got the number 1 pick. And to me, it's ridiculous because I'm sitting there and I'm watching this, right? And I'm like, how are you cheering at the fact that your team was the worst team? I mean, that's pretty much what this means. Is if you win the draft lottery system, congratulations, your team was absolute shit. That's what that means. Like, you wouldn't want to win the draft lottery system. Oh, but radio, no, you're not going to convince me on this. There is no convincing radio on this. I hate to be the one that tells you this. Just because you get the number 1 overall pick doesn't mean you're automatically going to be a champion the next season. Hell, if that was the case, Cleveland would be champion numerous times in the NFL. If that was the case, then Detroit would definitely be one of the top dogs in the NFL. To me, these draft lottery systems are such shit. Like, give the worst team the number 1 overall pick. But what about tanking? Who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck? My team played like absolute shit. Therefore, they deserve the number 1 pick. Period. Oh, your team was 5th worst, therefore you get the number 1 pick. Make that make sense. How come the NFL draft system makes more sense than this? The NFL system is where if your team played like shit, congratulations, you get the number 1 overall pick. Like, make it make sense. Like, this doesn't make any sense. People were cheering in Toronto because they got the number 1 pick. I wouldn't be cheering at the fact that my team was absolute garbage this season and that we got the number 1 pick. Like, I can't cheer that. And I know what you guys are saying. Oh, but if your team had the number 1 pick, you'd be thrilled. Yeah, because my team sucks ass. And they need the number 1 pick to help save the fucking team here, man. I don't understand how Toronto fans can sit there and act like they just won the goddamn Stanley Cup just because they got the number 1 overall pick based on a draft lottery. In my opinion, the draft lottery system is one of the worst systems on the planet. I think that the only time that the lottery system should be used is during a playoff seeding scenario. Now, I know what you guys are like, radio, what do you mean? I think that realistically, when it comes to playoff scenarios and you want to make the playoffs as interesting as possible, you don't have the conference shit. You want to make the playoffs interesting, you have a lottery system. I think that that would make it 10 times more interesting. You would have matchups that would make 10 times more sense than what we got with play-ins and all this extra shit. Cuz think about it, right? Imagine you had the draft lottery system, right? In the format of the playoffs. And like we take a look, like let's use the NBA for example. Let's go back to the NBA. Give me the playoff bracket. Here's where I think it'd be interesting, right? If you were to do a draft lottery system, you could have different matchups here. Like, yeah, you could have your silly little play-in to see who gets into the lottery system. But like, imagine if the Pistons were selected to take on the Raptors, and like the Magic were selected to take on the Celtics, and the 76ers were selected to take on. Like, I think that that would make it 10 times more interesting. When did the draft lottery system even start, or was it? I have no idea. I have no idea. To me, it's the most useless format on the planet. It really is. It makes zero sense. But I think the lottery system being used in a playoff seeding scenario, that to me would be more interesting to watch. Because then it's like, okay, fuck the seeding. Let's worry about who's playing who. Because then it's like you don't like you keep these teams on their toes, and it's like they have no time to prepare for one another. And it's like, okay, you're gonna be playing this team, you're gonna be playing that team, and it's like, ooh, okay, well we need to do our research on this team and this team. And like, I think that would be 10 times more interesting. 10 times more interesting than what we got now. But I mean, I guess if you want to treat it like it's your Stanley Cup, Toronto, congratulations. I guess you guys got the number 1 overall pick, and you guys are gonna select this kid out of Penn State. Good job. Uh, don't know how that's gonna save your franchise, considering you were the 5th worst franchise. And no offense, I've always said this. Just because you get one player doesn't exactly mean it's gonna save your franchise. Like, this is what drives me nuts about sports fans. It's like, oh, we got the number 1 overall pick, therefore this number 1 overall pick is going to save our franchise. No, that's not what that means. That means when you have the number 1 overall pick, right? It's more of a, hey, we got young talent coming in that we know has capability of being our top guy. We can build around them. That's what that means. Just because you get the number 1 overall pick doesn't mean, oh, we're going to automatically win the Stanley Cup. Oh, yes, this kid's going to be the difference maker. I guarantee you this kid's going to touch ice barely next season. Barely. I bet you he doesn't do shit next season. for the Maple Leafs. Guarantee it. If any Toronto fans want to come at me and be like, "Oh, well, radio, you don't know shit about sports," well, okay, I guess I don't know shit about sports, even though I was right about Wemby. I was right about Cooper. I was right about so many of these other players. Yeah, what the hell does radio know? I love it when people hit me with that. It's so funny when people hit me with that. Oh, radio, you don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, I called the Wemby thing right. I called the Cooper flag right. I called a lot of things right here. But no. Everyone wants to act like radio's crazy and doesn't know what he's talking about. Sports fans need to realize it's a team sport. Sports like NBA, NHL, and how MLS depends on the team. It's not about one damn player. Yep, you did call it. Well, I mean, I don't like being that guy, right? Like I don't. I don't like being that guy that's like, hey, like I'm trying to be right. But it's just I don't understand how fans can sit here and be like, "Oh hell yeah, we're gonna win because we got one damn player." Hell yeah, we're gonna do this, and it's like, dude, it's like Las Vegas fans. They're losing their fucking minds because they got Fernando there, and it's like, dude, Vegas needs a lot more than a quarterback to save their franchise. And if you're gonna rely heavily on him being your savior, boy, oh boy, I worry about you there. By the way, I want to shift gears here because now that we're done talking playoffs, I want to shift gear here and talking about that draft lottery because honestly, if I stay on the draft lottery, I'm going to go off on it, and I'm kind of sick and tired of talking about the Maple Leafs. To be honest with you, I mean the Maple Leafs aren't going to do shit like they do every year, so it don't matter. But I want to talk NHL or NFL stuff here because there's a lot of interesting stuff coming out of the NFL that I think we need to talk about, including as much as we don't like reading these headlines, we need to talk about this. Former New England Patriots receiver Stephon Diggs was found not guilty on Tuesday of assaulting his private chef in a pay dispute. The four-time Pro Bowler wideout pled not guilty in February to felony strangulation charge and a misdemeanor assault and a battery charge stemming from the alleged dispute. The trial lasted only 2 days. The acquittal clears the path for Diggs' return to the field, but he could still face disciplinary charges from the NFL. We have been monitoring all developments in the matter, which remains under review of the personal conduct policy, NFL spokesman Brian McCarthy said Tuesday. The case centered on a December 2nd encounter at Diggs' home in Dedham, where Jamala Adams, a former live in personal chef who is known as Mila, testified that he slapped and choked her during an argument. Diggs' attorney says that the alleged assault never happened and questioned Adams' credibility and whether the dispute was about money, relationship tensions, including a disagreement over a planned trip to Miami, or an alleged assault. What the hell is going on here? So, Diggs is found not guilty, clearing his return, but he could still face penalty charges. People were happy about this for some reason. I don't know why people would be happy that Stephon Diggs is found not guilty of something. The dude is still going to be facing trials no matter what. And he's a free agent right now. So he has no team. He's not with the Patriots. That's why it says former. So Stephon Diggs, he's clear to come back, but he needs to find a new team. But you know how that's going to go with fans. It doesn't matter who he signs with. He's going to be known as the guy that was you know. Am I right, sound effects guy? Don't get me wrong, Stephon Diggs is a great wide receiver. I think he lifted that Patriots team last season, and I think that Stephon Diggs deserves to be on an NFL field. But you know damn well how these kind of things sit with fans and how well they sit with rival fans, and of course how that's going to turn out for him. I'm just curious to see which team is going to drag him onto their team because you know damn well that they're going to offer him big money considering how he played last year. But I'm curious to see where he goes because everyone is saying that a heavy favorite for Diggs is a team that needs a wide receiver. And I'm like, well, that's numerous teams. So he can probably go. He wants to go to a playoff contender. We know that. So we got to figure out who the playoff contenders are for this upcoming season. But moving on from that, other news coming out of the NFL: the negotiations between the NFL and the NFL Referees Association on a new collective bargaining agreement has progressed far enough that the union has scheduled a ratification vote for Thursday night, sources told ESPN on Tuesday. When formally approved by both sides, the agreement would void the need for a replacement officials this season. The existing CBA is set to expire May 31st. Specific terms of the agreement were not immediately available. The NFL declined to comment, and the NFLRA did not immediately respond to the request for comment. The sides negotiated for more than 2 years but reached a stalemate late this past winter. The NFL began recruiting potential replacement referees from the college ranks in early March. Oh, God, yeah. Okay, hold on. Give me the sound. I'm sorry. No. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. I do not want college referees in the goddamn NFL. Are you kidding me? That's going to make it 10 times more worse. I'm sorry. Nope. No, 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 no. We can barely get these guys to make a fucking call on a college field. You think they're going to make a much better call in the NFL? You have a better chance of watching paint dry in 2 minutes than you do that happening. No, 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 no. I hate to be that guy, but no. No, I do not want college referees in my goddamn NFL. I'm sorry. These guys can barely make a call right when it comes to actual calls on a college football field. I would rather watch the guys play with no referees at all than, than you gotta be fucking kidding me. You mean to tell me you want this has to be the one time that I have to plead to Roger Goodell to make the right decision here and to just accept the agreement. I'll deal with the shitty referees all year making the worst calls. I'll deal with it, but dude, college referees are so much worse. They throw a flag on every little fucking thing. I'm sorry, you can't. No, 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 no. I'll take the crappy old referees than I will the friggin' college referees any day. I'm praying to God a deal gets done. Do we have any news coming out of New York? Yes, we do. The New York Giants have agreed to a 2-year, $12.5 million contract, signing veteran defensive tackle DJ Reader. The sources told ESPN's Jeremy Flower on Tuesday. Reader can make up to 15.5 million through incentives. Sources told Flower. The move comes more than 2 weeks after the New York Giants trade standout defensive lineman Dexter Lawrence to the Cincinnati Bengals for the 10th overall pick in the NFL draft. The New York has also drafted Bobby Jamison Travis in the 6th round last month. Giants freed up more than 12.5 million in salary cap space by trading Lawrence away. Last week, the Giants have also signed defensive tackle Shelby Harris and Leak Fatu to 1-year contracts. The Giants have also claimed defensive tackle Pickens off waivers from the Kansas City Chiefs on Tuesday. So the Giants are loading up, trying to rebuild that defensive line. They allowed the league worst 5.3 yards per carry last season. Reader, 31, spent past 2 seasons with the Detroit Lions. He previously played for the Bengals and the Houston Texans. Reader leads the NFL last year with 71.7 double team rates. He had 28 tackles, 9 pressures, and 4 quarterback hits. His 26% run stop win rate was below league average and behind Lawrence with 31.5. Oh boy, that makes me feel better. That makes me feel better. Glad we got a guy that was right behind Lawrence. Obviously, big news coming out for the New York Giants. They needed to rebuild that defensive line big time. I mean, that there was no shocker there. I think that the Giants needed to make the right move by signing a veteran here to help rebuild that defensive line. And I'm glad Harbaugh is making the right moves here, rebuilding the defense where he sees the most flaws. Obviously, New York Giants fans are still on their feet and they're still hopeful that one man will make his return. Obviously, we're still waiting on news about that. Hopefully, the two sides can reach a deal here because I would love nothing more than to see one particular man back in a Giants uniform. But then again, it all depends if the Giants want to actually offer him anything big here. I would love nothing more than to see one particular guy back in a Giants uniform. But then again, we're gonna have to wait and see. I mean, I'm hopeful that Harbaugh knows what the hell he's doing and that this is gonna be big. We do have other New York Giants news. New York Giants Hall of Famer linebacker Lawrence Taylor was discharged recently from the hospital following a stint for a stomach-related issue, his attorney said Tuesday. He received an email to the Associated Press that Taylor is returning home to Florida after being hospitalized in Morristown, New Jersey since April 20th. He says here that he is grateful to now be on the road to recovery and hopes that he can get back to the golf course soon. Adding that the 67-year-old expressed appreciation to the staff at Morristown Medical Center. Mr. Taylor would also like to sincerely thank everyone for the outpouring of love and support and prayers, knowing that so many people were thinking of him and praying for his recovery gave him strength and helped carry him through very challenging times. Well, yeah, I mean, Lawrence had a spectacular 13-year career with the New York Giants, especially with Super Bowl wins. Of course, one of the best defensive players of all time. I don't care what anyone says. If you tried to give me another defensive player, I swear to God, you're full of shit. If you saw Lawrence Taylor on the other side, you were getting destroyed. Someone sent me a clip. I wish I could play the clip without getting copyrighted. But it was Lawrence Taylor, right? Just fucking showing no remorse to quarterbacks. I wish we could play that clip. I want to play it on air, but I don't want to get copyrighted. Is there a way we can do that without getting copyrighted? Like, no, damn. I wish we could. All right, hold on. I'm getting told things in my ear as we're doing this. So you gotta forgive me here if I'm not. Yeah, I know. So I mean, I wish we had like realistic footage of him going up against these fucking like quarterbacks because dude, you could see it in every quarterback's eye where if you saw that man on the other side of the ball, you were done for. Period. End of story. Oh wait, do we have the clip? We do? Ooh, Okay, hold on. This just got more interesting. Can we play the audio from it? Okay, jeez him. Sorry, everyone. That was on me. Turn that down. Rewind it. Full screen it. Ay. See, this is the fun part of the show where we have nothing planned for this particular part, but yet we're gonna waste time setting it up more than anything. The worst part is now that we do that, sound effects guy can't play his clips. Can't play his fucking noises now, can you? All right. It's not like that big a deal, but like this was the clip that I watched the other day. And it was just so good because watch this fucking guy just destroy defenses here. You ready? Watch this. Or offenses here. Look at this man.
Keep pushing and he finally, the ball is knocked loose.
Anderson cut down by Taylor.
Williams is stopped behind the line, driven back by Taylor.
What is expected is that he gets some points on the board for them. He is sacked, and it is Lawrence Taylor, number 56.
Lawrence Taylor, the dominant player on this defense, no doubt about it. Throws away 3 or 4 different ones and finally makes the tackle.
Working together on that side, Taylor using a spin move. Lawrence gave him one of his best moves.
Taylor starts to the outside. He just runs right over Mark Duanet. Angleson looking outside. He goes. Picked off by Lawrence Taylor. Lawrence Taylor down the sideline. Don't think he can't run. Lawrence Taylor's going to go and burn them all. 97-yard touchdown interception by Lawrence.
All right. Sorry, I just had to play that clip because someone sent me that the other day. Where'd that clip come from? Because we want to show appreciation here. It's by Vinny's Corner #1 on X. So we'll show some respect there. But like, holy shit. I would hate to have been that guy that had to play against that man. Because he was destroying people back in the day. I wish I had that Giants team. We had Lawrence Taylor. Can you imagine? Hold on. Imagine. All right, hold on. I'm going to put a scenario in everyone's head. I know no one else is going to like this scenario but me, but I don't care. Imagine Lawrence Taylor, Jason Pierre-Paul, Dexter Lawrence. I'm trying to think of some other top defensive Giants here. Brian Burns. I mean, oof. Imagine that defense. Ain't no one breaking through. Ain't no one surviving that defense. I can tell you that much. But anyway, Lawrence Taylor, we wish you a speedy recovery. What more can we say? All right, we're going to take a commercial break. When we come back, what do we got to talk about? We have we got to talk about the upcoming WNBA season. And, of course, the main headlines that we have to look forward to there, including some players on new teams. And we'll talk about all that and more in just a little bit. So stay with us live right here on BW Radio, the #1 Syracuse Sports Radio, right here on YouTube.
legit tickets?
Vivid Seats has legit tickets for legit fans. From concerts to sports and everything in between. Vivid Seats makes scoring great deals on great seats. Fast, easy, and reliable. When it's something you can't miss, Vivid Seats doesn't miss. These guys know what I'm talking about. And so do these guys. Vivid Seats, the only ticket company that rewards you for buying.
Yeah, okay, pal. You got a better chance of seeing something else. Anyway, welcome back to BW Radio, the number one Syracuse Sports Radio right here on YouTube. So we'll be back with you folks once again. Folks, this segment of BW Radio is brought to you guys by our friends at Vivid Seats. Download the Vivid Seats app today and find out how you guys can get the best tickets for any sporting events, concerts, what have you. Get the best playoff tickets, get the best concert tickets at Vivid Seats. Download it from the App Store or Google Play today, or check it out at vividseats.com. I love the yapping that is going on in my ear right now. I know you guys can't hear it on the air. I would love it if you guys could hear the yapping that's going on in my ear. Because there's so much of a debate that I could hear just based off that. And boy, oh boy, do I really want to tear into these guys, but I guess I could do it on the air. What I am hearing in my ear is this. That the WNBA season is officially returning Friday. And the biggest debate that is going on in my ear at the moment, and I don't care, I love calling these guys out because it's funny. The biggest debate that is in my ear right now, who finishes better, the Atlanta Dream or the Indiana Fever? And the reason that they're having this argument is because one has Angela Reese, the other one has Caitlin Clark. And now that they're in the same conference, they're going to be seeing each other a lot more. Well, they've been in the same conference. It don't matter. I don't know why that's an argument that you guys are having at this moment. Pretty much my stat guy and, of course, the sound guy are arguing in my ear. Because they're sitting there telling me that the Dream and the Fever is the must-watch series this year in the WNBA. Not the top headlines where we should be talking about these new teams, including the Portland Fire and the Toronto Tempo. No, we're not going to talk about them. We're not going to talk about how the Liberty are without their top players right now. No, we're going to have the same argument that we have every single year when it comes to the WNBA, which is Reese or Clark. And this time it's Dream or Fever. And it's a good thing that I now have control of the soundboard at this moment, because I'm going to hit you both with this. They're screaming right in my ear right now. They're trying to make their points, and I can't. Look, when it comes to the biggest headlines, obviously, of course, some of the biggest headlines that we're getting for this upcoming season is, of course, can the New York Liberty find their stride is one headline. The next is, do the Fever have the team that they've been waiting on to make a playoff run in the WNBA? The next is the Atlanta Dream looking to rebuild with the newly rebuilt Atlanta team? And does Atlanta look like they could be the team to watch this year now that they have Reese? I want to talk about all these other teams, though, because I feel like Dallas has a very interesting team this year, especially with the fact that they now have not only Buckers, but they also have Fudd as well. And I think that combo right there is going to be a duo to watch this year for the upcoming WNBA season. I feel like the Dallas Wings now have themselves a team that can make anything happen. Not only that, I also think that realistically, if we're talking very much interest here, I think that the Aces, of course, are going to be a team to watch. Not only that, but the Portland Fire. And of course, I think the Toronto Tempo are looking to make a splash in the WNBA as well. But again, we go back to that same argument. We go back to that same argument that we've been having. Clark or Reese. And again, they're continuing to yap in my ear and telling me that I need to pick this team when realistically. Listen, I'm a Liberty fan. I could care less about who wins here. I'm rooting on Stewie and of course the major shooter there. She's gonna be out for 2 weeks, unfortunately. But I always butcher her name. That's why I don't say it. But the argument of Clark versus Reese is obviously one that makes zero sense because obviously when you talk about these two women, it's just annoying because honestly, there's no argument here. Obviously, the WNBA has gained a lot of popularity, and of course, one of the major reasons is because of Clark. And not only that, it's because the basketball is a lot more interesting than what we've seen out of college or the NBA recently. I think that realistically, when you're talking about women's basketball, it just keeps getting more and more interesting every single year, especially when they shift from college to the WNBA. But, I mean, if we're going to do the battle of Clark versus Reese again, how many times are we going to keep doing this? Because realistically, the league didn't really explode until Clark made her debut and pretty much embarrassed Reese every single season so far. Yes, Reese can sit there and say, "Oh, but I'm on the cover of 2K and I'm dominating in rebounds." Yeah, you're getting your own goddamn rebounds because of how many times you miss a layup. It's not that hard to give yourself credit in the stat line when you're the one creating your own stats. There. But if these guys want me to sell the argument right now, and I'm going to go ahead and we're going to sell this right now because if I hear this argument the entire goddamn season, I'm going to lose it. Fever over Dream, get over it. Reese falls to Clark every single season, get over it. There we go. Moving on. I want to talk about the other interesting headlines, one of which is Dallas. I think that Dallas is going to be a team to watch in the WNBA this season because of Buckers and Fudd. I think that many people are being too critical of Fudd because of how she's been playing so far. I think they need to give her a lot of credit, especially when the season hasn't even started yet. There's just been nothing but preseason. I think that a couple of teams are going to be making a big splash this year. I don't know why. I have my eyes on, of course, the Vegas Aces. I think that they're a team that, once again, wants to prove why they're top dogs in the WNBA. So I think that they can make a run there. Not only that, but the Minnesota Lynx, I think that they're looking to make some magic happen this season as well. I think that these two new teams in the Tempo and the Portland Fire are going to make a splash in their own unique way. I know that they've been making a lot of roster cuts and everything this year. Who do you think is going to win the WNBA title this year? Honestly, if I'm going to be honest, because we haven't really seen much yet, I'm going to stick with the safe bet and either go with the Aces or the Liberty just because I've known them to be top WNBA teams every single season, and I think that they can make something happen. But I'm also gonna say that some runner ups that I have would have to be Indiana because of Clark, and I think when Boston comes back, I think that that duo is gonna make some magic happen this year for Indiana. Um, I also have my eyes. I don't know why on the Valkyrie too. I think that they're gonna make some the Golden State Valkyries. I think they're gonna make some stuff happen there as well. But I mean there's a bunch of teams here that have the potential to bring home the WNBA title. I'm just saying that when it comes to this kind of level in the WNBA. I think that realistically, many people are going to go with the safe bet and they're going to be like, oh, it's going to be the Indiana Fever because of Clark, or they're going to go with the previous history, which is either going to be Liberty or Aces. I think that Minnesota is also another team that I think could make some magic happen. I think that we're ruling them out a little bit too early here. Yeah, what's wrong with the Valkyries? I think the Valkyries can make something happen. They've been rebuilding this offseason, so I think that they have potential. I think they have potential to make some stuff happen. I don't know. We're in for a very interesting ride here. I think that the Lynx are definitely heavy favorites for sure, right? In my realistic opinion here. No, yeah, but I think the Aces though. The Aces are definitely one to keep an eye out for. But I'm always gonna support Stewie and of course the Liberty, no matter what. Well, I mean, come on, I gotta root for the best, which of course is the Liberty. Someone asked me how come Boston doesn't have. I would like to see I want to see the WNBA kind of have the same amount of teams as the regular NBA and kind of have that long longevity season. That kind of like I would love it if the WNBA and the NBA kind of start at the same time and see who wins that head-to-head matchup. Have the same amount of games, see who's gonna survive that matchup. Same amount of games, same amount of teams. Who wins it? WNBA or NBA? Because my vote is WNBA because I think it's a lot more interesting and a lot more closer than the fucking NBA that we've been watching recently. Again, these two are yapping in my goddamn ear, and it's like I can't think. Will you two shut up? It's whoever wins. Okay, who cares? We all know how the season's gonna end for both of them anyway. Reese is gonna bitch no matter what happens. She could have a fucking fantastic year and still bitch. Clark is somehow gonna get injured before playoffs, and then the Fever are gonna be out. It doesn't matter. Both of them are not gonna win, so shut up. Holy shit. Yeah, but the WNBA is always expanding, Noble. So I mean, it could happen. We could see a WNBA team in Boston here soon. I would love to see it. Again, I would love to see the WNBA have the same amount of teams that the NBA does, and I would love to see it. Like, I would love to see how that would go because I would love to see who wins that matchup because my money's on. And again, my money's on the WNBA because I'm a little bit biased here because I don't know why. I love watching women's basketball. I think women's basketball is 10 times more interesting than what we've seen in men's college or or in the NBA recently. But I mean, already they're saying Buckers and Wilson are standouts for the upcoming season, and that's true. I think that both of them are going to be ones to watch. I'm very interested to see how these new players are gonna come out of it. But can you imagine that matchup though? NBA versus WNBA. Who has the longevity? Of course, everyone wants to know what's. Will you two shut up? All right, I'm muting them in my headphones. I can't. All right, I can't hear them. I only have their noises up, so if they're gonna sit there and play noises, then I want to know how annoying they're gonna be. Ta-da! All right, shut up, you two. Anyway, coming up Friday, the WNBA season officially tips off with Connecticut taking on New York. Washington takes on the newly formed Toronto team, and of course, Golden State will take on Seattle. All those games are going to be on Ion TV. You guys can watch that there. And, of course, Saturday's big matchup here on ABC and Disney Plus is going to be the Dallas the Dallas Wings taking on the Indiana Fever. That game is on at 1 p.m. It's going to be Buckers and Fudd taking on Clark and the Fever. We'll have to see how that matchup turns out. And then, of course, the Minnesota Lynx will take on Atlanta. Phoenix will take on Las Vegas. And Chicago will take on Portland. And Portland's first game in the WNBA, that happens on Saturday. We're in for a very interesting ride for the WNBA season, so keep your eyes open there. Great, now they're starting a new argument. I love listening to these. I wish I can. I wish that I could reroute this so you guys can hear what goes in my ears during the show. Because these guys are constantly feeding me information, but at the same time, they're also arguing nonstop. And it's like, Jesus fucking Christ. Anyway, shut up. I hate you both. All right. So, let's talk about the upcoming World Cup. Everyone's got me excited about how the World Cup is going to progress here. And of course, everyone has been asking me, do I think that the USA has a chance to survive in this year's upcoming World Cup, considering the fact that they are in the same field as Paraguay, Australia, and Turkey? Let me go ahead and just say this right now. I don't care if it's in North America, South America. I don't care where it is. I don't care if it's over in Europe. USA is going to get their ass kicked. Okay? Let's be for real here. Everyone's been telling me that there's been teams that I should support other than the US, which has been England, Argentina, Spain. And I'm like, we haven't even started yet. And yet you guys are wanting me to turn against the US. And it's like, yeah, because the US is terrible at soccer. And the worst part is I can't argue with that because honestly, it is true. I have no faith in Team USA when it comes to the World Cup. If they are able to make it happen, then there's clearly some referee rigging stuff here. I have no I have no faith in Team USA winning the World Cup at all whatsoever. I think USA is gonna get their ass kicked like there's no tomorrow. It doesn't matter who we put out there. It used to matter. The key word was used to. I'd rather talk about what's going on in the Premier League than talk about what's going on with Team USA, to be honest with you. Because apparently there's some interesting news coming out of the soccer world over there. Apparently FIFA has extended a ban on Argentina's one Argentinian player, and I'm not going to pronounce his name because I'm going to butcher it, but pretty much it says here that they will rule that the wing player will be out for 2 World Cup games in the United States if he is selected to Argentina's squad. Apparently, it imposes a 6-game ban, with 3 of those games deferred on probation. Apparently, 2 weeks ago, in his verbal abuse of Real Madrid's Brazilian forward, I'm going to butcher that, in league champion. I'm going to attempt the name, but I'm probably going to mess it up here. Pastrani? I'm butchering it here, but pretty much he's the one that's getting a ban here. I knew I was going to butcher the name, so I don't even know why I attempted to read that, but we're idiots. You guys ever figure that out? How does the English Premier League look? Like, I miss my experts. We gotta have our experts back on the show. I miss those guys. Besides Arsenal sitting on top, Man United is doing better than fucking Liverpool and Chelsea? Oh, it's been a while since we checked this stuff out. It's been a while. We gotta get our experts back on. You ever figure that out? We gotta get these guys back on. Maybe we'll start that up next week. We'll bring back the experts and see what they have to say. I hate you fucking. You really want to do this right now? Okay. Play a noise if you want the experts to come back.
Ta-da!
Do we have a civil case against them? All right, good deal. All right. Enough of your shit this morning. All right. Again, love the argument that's going on in my ears. All right. So, they're still going at it even though we said cut it out. It's annoying. All right. So, no, let's just get right to Around the Diamond. Who cares? We're having ourselves a good morning. So let's go to Around the Diamond, of course. We'll check in on the Yankees and the Mets. I can already tell how the Yankees are doing. The Yankees are doing fine. They're on a 5-game win streak in the American League. They're 8-2 in their last 10 games, sitting atop of the American League East. Meanwhile, that's a fucking mess. The fucking Mets. National League East, the Mets currently are 4-6 in their last 10 games. They're on a 2-game win streak. Oh, that's a big win streak for the boys. See, the Mets are turning around. No, just kidding. They're terrible. Taking a look at the top teams in Major League Baseball at this moment. So far, it's the Atlanta Braves sitting atop of Major League Baseball. They are currently 26-11. They are 7-3 in their last 10 games and are currently on a 1-game win streak. Right behind them is the Yankees, then the Chicago Cubs. They are the third best team. They're on a 7-game win streak and are 7-3 in their last 10 games. Right behind them is Tampa Bay with a 5-game win streak and are 9-1 in their last 10 games. And then right behind them is the Dodgers, San Diego, St. Louis, Cincinnati, Milwaukee, Pittsburgh, the Athletics, jeez, Arizona, Detroit, Cleveland, and somehow the White Sox. The bottom 5 in Major League Baseball right now was the Mets are the worst team in Major League Baseball at the very bottom. Then right behind them is the Los Angeles Angels, then San Francisco, Colorado, and Houston. The longest winning streaks that we have at this moment is Tampa Bay with Chicago with a 7-game win streak. Tampa Bay, New York are right behind them. Oh, and Kansas City are with 5. The longest losing streaks as of right now in Major League Baseball are the Cincinnati Reds with a 5-game losing streak. Right behind them is Cleveland with a 3-game losing streak. Colorado as well has a 5-game losing streak at the moment. Major League Baseball, man. Gotta love the Mets. Not really. Dude, I watched a TikTok. All right, hold on. I want to talk about this. I watched a TikTok the other day, right? Where this woman was posting about her kid. He's a tall kid who apparently has some kind of physical issues, right? And he swung the bat and he hit it, and of course he ran to first base. Some fucking guy has a duet where he cuts in and he must play for the Mets. And like then the woman comes on and she goes, yeah, my son is this, that, and the other. How does that make you feel, asshole? And it's like, I wouldn't have even responded to the guy because the guy sounds like an annoying prick from New York. I mean, you could tell the New York accent just based off what I'm hearing. He's either from New York or Boston. You can tell by that accent. And dude, I hate people most of the time. Do you know that? Because it's like, Jesus Christ. To be fair, we've been watching a lot of questionable TikToks when it comes to sports. Like you gotta love it, like when you have like one of the worst teams and yet you're watching what the hell did we save the other day? We saved the TikTok. I wish we could show TikToks on here, but we can't do that either. Would love it if my guys could figure that out. I would love it if we could have like a replay screen behind me just showing replays, but YouTube will flag us for copyright. They hate us. You know that? YouTube hates us. They just don't want to admit it. I barely check TikTok. Yeah, I know. I barely check TikTok nowadays anyway. Which is weird because most of the time that's how I used to spend most of my time. But like, um, what the hell did I watch the other day? Someone sent me a sports clip and I was laughing my ass off. I forgot what it was, but like, there's just a lot of interesting things on TikTok. Like don't get me wrong. Like I like checking TikToks when I'm bored and of course I have something to do. But TikTok has become one of those things where now that everyone uses it, you're kind of bored with it because it's like there's like nothing interesting anymore on there, right? Ooh, actually, that's what we were going to talk about. Hold on, before we talk about the next thing, I do want to let everyone know, of course, about our network schedule. Of course, BW Radio takes place every Wednesday at 8 a.m. Eastern Time right here on YouTube. Mondays at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time on the Wrestler Podcast YouTube channel. Check out the guys talking wrestling over there, and of course, every other Tuesday, including yesterday, we had the RWL's War. You guys can check it out right here on the BW Radio Network. Which, by the way, the BW Radio Network is having a new logo made for the BW Radio Network, and honestly, I've seen it. I love it. We're going to be debuting it probably next week when we get the chance. It's going to be exciting. I can't wait to show you guys that new logo. It's going to be fun. But, all right, so this is a useless topic that we're going to be talking about, right? But I don't care because I love when we talk about useless topics because it's very funny to see how people react to us talking about useless topics. Someone sent me a clip the other day, and it was of the Pat McAfee show. And I know immediately what you guys are thinking. Oh no, it's Pat McAfee. Here we go. Oh no. Oh no, it's bad. Well, how about you guys listen to what I have to say first before you say it's bad? So, there was a clip, right? And it got me thinking about what it was like back in the day, back when I played sports. It was Pat McAfee, AJ Hawk, JJ Watt, and a few other football players, and they were talking about pregame meals. And it got me thinking about like what did I used to have for a pregame meal before I played? And I kind of want to know all the other sports guys, like if they had a ritual or something, because they're like most of these guys had like a ritual when it came to pregame meals, right? Like, okay, so I'll tell you guys some stories here because honestly, I think it's funny, and I'm kind of listening to these guys tell me their pregame meals, and I'm hearing like someone said if we played a game in the morning, I had a bagel with cream cheese and a coffee, and that was it. Someone else is saying in my ear that they had like the most random meal. It didn't matter. Someone said that they ate pasta at like 9 o'clock in the morning before a game, which is insane because that was kind of mine. But anyway, so I will tell you guys my pregame meal, right? If it didn't matter which sport, basketball, soccer, it didn't matter. My pregame meal consisted of either pasta which was like didn't have the heavy sauce stuff, right? Like you just had like normal pasta, like you slap some butter and salt on there and that was pretty much it. Like I didn't go insane with my pregame meals. I just had like some kind of pasta, I had some kind of bread, and we were good. But if it was a morning game, then I just had like either toast and like a Gatorade or something. Just something to get in my stomach so that way I wasn't running on empty. Because like that was the one thing, like I never understood these guys, but like a lot of the guys that I used to be on a team with, right? They would fucking eat insanely weird. Like I don't know how the hell they did it. Like I remember like I'd be sitting there like I'm not gonna lie, most of the time when I played, my pregame meal was like a granola bar and that was it because I didn't want to, fill up on something because then I'd get sick and I wouldn't be able to play. But the one thing that I noticed was like my teammates back in high school, right? And this was something that I couldn't picture doing. They would come in with like these big slabs of pizza. They came in with raw cookie dough. Came in with like, yeah, like these guys would eat raw cookie dough before a fucking game when they're gonna run like there's no tomorrow. Like these were the starters too, which made it even worse. But like they would come in, right? And I'd look at what they'd have. Most guys would have like a monster or something, have like an energy drink, which having an energy drink before a sporting event was like insane to me. Like I could not drink a monster or anything like that before a game. It was just too insane, right? I whoa. Okay, one guy just said in my ear that he would eat pancakes before a game, which that no, eating a stack of pancakes with the syrup and shit, you that would slow your ass down too. Like I remember like like there was a time period where we would not have the healthiest run of food, but I knew that before any game that we would play, we wouldn't eat like an insane amount of stuff. You know what I mean? Like we wouldn't go crazy with like, oh, let's devour a whole fucking like pizza before a game or something like that. Like I remember like you wanted to keep it small so that way your stomach didn't kill you during the game because it would suck if like you got called upon and then you had to go to the bathroom as you were getting called upon to get in the game, you know? But like I said, these guys were nuts back in the day. They had like raw fucking cookie dough. They had like bags of chips and like I couldn't imagine that. Like I would always eat like one thing and then we would go like pasta like that was another thing. Like I would eat like just like one bowl of pasta and then I was good to go. You know what I mean? Like just give me like one bowl and we're good. I mean, afterwards, yeah, you can eat like fucking crazy. Like it didn't matter. Like after the game, yeah, you would like as I remember it. At least that's how I remember. I don't know about anyone else, but usually at my high school football games, I ate a granola bar and some Gatorade. At my track meets, same thing. Also, yeah, like I didn't go crazy. Like I was more worried about getting like fluid more than anything, right? Like so it'd be water, Gatorade, those like powdered ones that you would put in your water, you'd shake it, and that'd be your friggin' thing. But like, I'm not kidding when I say like these guys, like they would get like a full blown like fucking pizza, and I'm like, how the hell can you eat a pizza before a game? Like I feel like that would destroy your stomach. And like these guys were eating raw cookie dough monsters, fucking They were going all out. Like, these guys would eat like a whole sub before the game. I'm like, dude, your stomach is going to be fucking killing you. And, like, they would yell at me, too. They'd be like, hey, how come, they would be like, hey, Brandon, how come you're not eating? And it's like, well, sorry that I don't want to get the wicked shits, boys. Wasn't on my to-do list of, I don't know. Everyone was weird with it. That's why I was curious about everyone's, I love the idea of a topic of, like, hearing what everyone's pregame rituals were and, like, hearing their pregame meals and stuff like that. Because everyone has, like, a unique way of getting ready for games. Mine was always like, hey, I'd rather get to the field. When I played soccer, it was get to the field early, warm up by, kicking the ball at the net or just working on your footwork. The next was basketball. You get to the court early, you shot around, you kind of warmed up a little bit before, the games actually started. You kind of warmed up, kind of just getting ready to play. Like, I always had this ritual where, like, I would listen to music and just shoot around before basketball games because that was, like, my favorite thing to do. It was to shoot hoops with headphones on. But then when you got in the game and you didn't have headphones on, it was like no, 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 no. Hold on. The guys in my ears are telling me that someone. No, 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 no. Why would you have that big of a meal? One of the guys in my ears just told me that they had a. Not only did they have a sub, but they had. What did you have? That's too much. Like, he ate a sub and a slice of pizza. No, that's way too much, my guy. That's way too much. And you downed it with Mountain Dew. Yeah, that doesn't shock me. You downed it with Mountain Dew. Can I get the laughing cat at least on that one? Don't lie to me. How badly was your stomach killing you during the game? Oh yeah, you sat the bench most of the time. Anyway. All right. But no, I am fascinated. I do like learning everyone's kind of like pregame rituals. Mine was weird though. I had some weird pregame rituals. Like, if I didn't make 2 3 throws in a row, then it was an off game. But if I made both and I knew that we were gonna win. Another one was like a half court shooting thing where, like, half the guys were shooting half court shots to test our luck. And it was like, why don't we save those for the actual game? Meanwhile, people that were showing up were cheering like this. 'Cause they were like, oh, it's gonna happen during the game. Yeah, it didn't happen during the game, I could tell you that much. But alright. I think that's all we got for today's show. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to BW Radio. We will be going live on our Twitch channel tonight. We got a new system. We're going to be playing a new game on there. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be funny. Check out the Twitch, which, of course, is down below. Or just, of course, check out our X and how you guys can find us on there. We'll be posting it over there as well. Make sure you guys check out the Wrestle Arc podcast every Monday at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Check out the RWO's War. We'll be going live next week for that as well, just like we were live today. Make sure you guys check out tpublic.com. Check out all of our merchandise from the BW Radio Network down there as well. But other than that, I think we are good to wrap up the show today, guys. Thank you guys so much for listening. This has been BW Radio. Announcer guy, let's end it the right way. Let's end it. We will see you guys next week. Bye-bye, everyone.
What a perfect ending to a historic day!
away.